In addition to the bass itself, there are a few other things you'll need in order to start playing. Probably the most important of those would be the amplifier. Amplifier looks like this. You'll notice on the bottom we have a speaker, which is where the sound comes out, and on the top we have the actual amplifier portion, which converts the signal from the bass into sound, which can come out of the speaker. You can use the upper part of the amplifier to change the volume and also change some of the tonal options to give it a different sound. Different amplifiers have different features that you might utilize. Depending on if your amp has a separate speaker and amplifier portion, you might also need some cables in order to connect the two. Ask the person at the store where you get it, or a professional, which cables you'll need. You can also look online for that information. In addition to your amplifier, you will need what's called a patch cable or a 1/4 inch cable. The end connector looks like this. This is a straight one. This is an L-shaped one. Both work. This is a standardized cable. This can be used to connect any bass to any amplifier. They also work for regular electric guitars, things like that, pedals, all kinds of guitar and bass related gear will use the same standardized 1/4 inch cable. I recommend getting 2 or 3 of these things. They're easy to lose. They break pretty frequently. And always, we keep at least one in your case so that you don't show up somewhere and not have a cable to use. Last but not least, we have our strings. Bass strings come in 2 basic varieties, round wound strings and flat wound strings. This bass features flat wound strings. The sound on flat wounds is a little bit more round, it's a little softer, a little bit more like an upright bass kind of sound. They're really good for jazz or funk music or R&B kind of soul music. This bass is featuring round wound strings. The round wound strings have a much brighter sound. They're really good for rock music or funk music or things like that, where you want a really in-your-face kind of bass sound. I recommend having someone else change your strings when you first have them changed. Maybe watch them do it, take notes, look online on how to do it, and after the first couple times, maybe try it yourself, practice a little bit. It can be a little frustrating to change them on your own, but after a few times you'll get the hang of it. In terms of which kinds of strings to try out first, give them both a shot. There's pros and cons to both, and I personally don't have a preference. I think that depending on the style of music you're playing, any kind of string will do fine.